Nowadays, enabling access to clean water is essential and remains a global challenge. Over the past 2 decades in Vietnam, significant improvements have been made in rural water supply. In 2017, 87% of the rural population in Vietnam had access to clean water, and 49% had access to water meeting the Ministry of Health's drinking water standards. However, disparities between provinces and geographies remain. Rural populations in mountainous and remote areas often lack access to clean water. In some provinces, up to 55% of water schemes are no longer functioning. Most of those were managed by the local communities. Traditionally, government was the main source of infrastructure investment, including for water supply schemes. However, government funds are limited and insufficient to meet development needs. Meanwhile, the private sector has shown great potential, applying new technologies, conducting strong financial management and focusing on sustainability. The private sector are considered an important source of future investment to reduce the dependence on public funds. Further engagement of the private sector in rural water supply is essential. In Vietnam, there are barriers to private sector engagement in rural water. These include: water supply is considered a public service, so water tariffs are often set below the actual cost to supply water. This means water supply businesses are not financially viable. The government of Vietnam has made significant efforts to support private sector engagement in water supply, but policy implementation could be enhanced. It is necessary to develop a more transparent support mechanism, clearer guiding documents, and guaranteed subsidy funds. There have been challenges with water service provision for the poor, as many households cannot pay a full cost recovery tariff. This means that rural water supply in locations with many poor households is unattractive to the private sector. These 3 obstacles must be overcome before private investment in rural water will be viable throughout Vietnam. To improve the situation, the non-government organisation East Meets West has implemented a project named Innovations for Private Sector Development in Rural Water Supply, supported by the Australian Government's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. East Meets West has collaborated with provincial people's committees, national and provincial centres for rural water supply and sanitation, and the Provincial Women's Union to implement the pilot phase of the project in Sơn La, Hà Nam and Nghệ An provinces. Innovative components of this project include: 1. Smart Subsidy. East Meets West has established a fund to provide output-based subsidies on a competitive basis for private enterprises. The subsidy is calculated to cover the financial gap between a full cost recovery tariff and the regulated tariff actually charged to consumers. But this subsidy must be no less than 30% and no more than 50% of the investment cost of the scheme. The winning enterprises pre-finance construction and connect households. The subsidy is dispersed to the enterprise on the basis of outputs achieved. These water connections are independently verified before the subsidy is dispersed to ensure they meet service standards. The output-based mechanism for disbursement incentivises the enterprise to ensure construction is of high quality and to go the last mile to ensure all targeted households get connected. 2. Balance between economic and social objectives. PSI increases access to clean water while ensuring the water schemes are financially sustainable for the private enterprise. The project aims to encourage poor and vulnerable groups to connect to clean water, and it empowers women. Private investors are selected for PSI based on a number of criteria. These include technical design, their financial proposal, their business plan and social responsibility. Private enterprises led by women and those with higher rates of female employment are also given preference. 3. Policy advocacy. The output-based subsidy mechanism and formulation of a full cost recovery water tariff are conducted in partnership with central and provincial government departments, as well as relevant stakeholders with responsibility for water tariff reform. Gender equality and community participation are prioritised in this project. Before PSI was implemented, local residents were consulted at commune meetings and a baseline survey was conducted. The The survey captured demands and concerns, and gender issues were identified. After the targeted household connections were completed, Women's Union staff in each province were trained to use a GPS integrated app to monitor and evaluate the project results. They did this by conducting customer satisfaction surveys after 3 to 6 months of continuous water service. The survey created an opportunity for the voice of the water customers to reach the water suppliers. Based on the survey results, East Meets West will disperse the final subsidy payment for the private enterprise. After 1 year of implementation, the project has achieved the following results. 1. Construction and upgrade of Nabo water scheme was completed, providing clean water for 411 households or 1,545 people in 4 villages. 2. The water scheme in Chiangmung commune, where 6 different ethnic groups live together, has been expanded and now provides treated water for 250 households with more than 1,000 residents, contributing to improved quality of life for local people. 3. In Hanam, 3,350 households in 2 communes also have access to clean water due to a pipeline extension at 2 large water schemes. The construction for each project only took 3 to 6 months. The project has attracted interest of many private enterprises. 5 enterprises were selected through competitive bidding to participate in PSI so far. The selected enterprises have fulfilled their social responsibility commitments and provided free or discounted connection fees, as well as 6 to 12 months of free water for poor households, households with disabled people and female-headed households.
Bản thân tôi là người tham gia dự án, tôi đánh giá rất cao về sự giám sát minh bạch rõ ràng của dự án. Tôi cũng rất là vui mừng vì cái quỹ sáng tạo này đã tạo điều kiện thuận lợi cho doanh nghiệp cũng như là thu hút doanh nghiệp đầu tư vào các cái chương trình dự án nước sạch để giúp đỡ cho bà con nhân dân, nhất là vùng khó khăn như vùng Sơn La.
The Australian Water Association, an East Meets West partner, has also implemented a technical innovation under PSI. AWA handed over 20 household filtration systems and installed 2 water kiosks in the Chiang Mai Commune People's Committee building and the Chiang Mai Primary School. These systems are providing drinking water treated with Australian technology. All materials and systems were transferred from Australia to Vietnam under this project component.
Cá nhân tôi đánh giá đây là một cách làm sáng tạo, đổi mới cũng như rút ngắn được quy trình thời gian và nhanh chóng đạt được cái kết quả đầu ra. Đông Tây hội ngộ thì tôi đánh giá là về khả năng điều phối cũng như xây dựng kế hoạch, quản lý dự án và thực hiện rất là tốt.
PSI will help 7,000 households, equivalent to 31,500 people, to access clean water in Sơn La, Hà Nam and Nghệ An provinces. The water and service quality has been reported as good by the community living in the service areas.
Bây giờ thì có công ty nước sạch xuống làm về nước sạch cho sử dụng. Gia đình tôi rất là được sử dụng và thoải mái, và nước đến tại nhà rất là vui. Rồi là nấu nướng rất là gọn gàng và ăn uống sạch sẽ.